that I am battling in court. When you look at the work, the characterization of my work during travels at the airport, the such mandate and the suspended laws without due process. The NGOs have been intimidated into silence because of a mention of activities prejudicial to national security, and most of them are hopeless and they cannot fight back. My third issue is on general human rights violations in Uganda. The militarization of the accreditation process for voter education and election observation leading to elections, which we refused, saying that voter education cannot be the business of the military. And because we were pushing back protecting the laws of Uganda, we were then marked as dangerous. In this election, there was no credible voter education, high militarization of elections, and disruption of opposition campaigns, especially those of the National Unity Platform, disrupted by the military and police, yes, including roadblocks. The issues that we were talking about that led to the arrest.
Ms. Barit, yes. I'm sorry.
Yes,
our chair, Hilde Woutmans, had to leave, so I'm stepping in for her. My name is Ingeborg and I'm the vice chair of this committee. Can I ask you, please, to come to your conclusions, because I assumed this was your...
The state of judicial and rule of law, as I go towards the conclusion.
Thank you.
We have the weak judiciary in place with questionable legitimacy because the Bar Association of Uganda has been locked out of the Judicial Service Commission and the ongoing appointments, including that of the Chief Justice and Principal Judge, have questionable legitimacy because of lack of quorum at the Judicial Service Commission. There is all, and anybody suspected of committing a crime is treated as if they have already been convicted, and this is a violation of Article 28 of the Constitution. As I conclude, I want to re-echo the diplomatic relations between the EU member states and citizens of Uganda. There is remarkable silence from your representatives in Uganda, and we understand the diplomatic relations. Silence on violation of human rights in Uganda. There is silence on the re-echoing of EU values that are enshrined under Article 2 of the treaty. And through you, I want to request that the representatives in our capitals, by neglecting the rule of law and rights of the people. I thank you so much.
Asante sana, Mrs. Biriti, and your message is very well heard on this side. It's very well heard by the Parliament, and thank you so much for your intervention. And I think you really paved the way for our next speaker to also say something about the diplomatic relationships we hold as Europe with Uganda. So I want to give the floor to Mr. Jonas Jonasson, head of the unit for the Horn of Africa and East Africa and the external Europe age with Ugandan authorities regarding violations, close monitoring relevant trails, and to review cooperation with the assistance for Uganda to ensure respect for EU principles, as Mrs. Bariti was saying, implementing targeted sanctions and prioritize support for civil society, human rights, and LGBTIQ plus defenders and journalists. Can you please inform us about what the EEAS has been doing so far, both in Brussels and in Kampala, and how do you see the way forward? Mrs. Jonasson, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Chair. Honourable members of this Parliament and distinguished colleagues also in this discussion, like the previous speakers, it's to discuss in Uganda and EU-Uganda relations. Indeed, I would like to say a few words about that on our assessment of the elections and indeed, Chair, as you said, on the way ahead. Mm-hmm. First of all, I just wanted to refer to our statement of the 23rd of January, where we commented and acknowledged the results of the elections, but also expressed our regrets, especially with regard to post-election violence. Uganda relations were obviously, there are many shared areas of common interest for cooperation with Uganda and with Ugandan people, which ranges from trade and investments, green transition, connectivity, climate resilience, sustainable forestry, etc. And in all of this, as you know, one of our flagship initiatives, the Chair already mentioned that Uganda's role in the region for peace and security is very important. Somalia was mentioned. Uganda's role as a major refugee hosting nation is very important and contributing to regional stabilization. And of course, Uganda has a global voice, for example, chairing the non-aligned movement. In all of this, we stress that Uganda, through our governance, line, which acknowledged the largely peaceful conduct of voting while highlighting concerns related to the political playing field, arrests of opposition actors, and restrictions affecting access to information. And such observations underline the importance of continuous dialogue aimed at strengthening electoral credibility over time. And as I already said, we said publicly we regretted the post-electoral violence and threats, particularly against opposition leader Robert Kyagulanyi, Bobi Wine, and we called on all parties to exercise restraint on the authorities to ensure the safety of all political actors. Looking ahead, electoral reforms remains an important area of engagement, and we continue to encourage progress on issues such as the independence of the Electoral Commission, transparency in results management, campaign finance, oversight, equitable media access, and effective dispute resolution mechanism, and anchoring all these reforms in Uganda's own constitutional jurisprudence. Through initiatives such as governance programs, the EU has supported civic education, dialogue platforms, rule of law initiatives, and capacity building efforts designed to strengthen institutions and encourage peaceful political participation as a long-term strategy to promote democracy and the rule of law. And for this reason, we remain our engagement with all actors, government institutions, opposition representatives, but also civil society, religious leaders, and security actors, because we want to support this inclusive dialogue. We will therefore also continue to engage as a predictable, principled, and long-term partner supporting Uganda's democratic journey through dialogue, cooperation, and shared commitment to stability and inclusive government. That is particularly important as we actually celebrate this year the 50th anniversary of our relationship. And in that spirit, we would like to continue the support to the issues we have discussed today. But I want to stress that we are closely and we continue to closely monitoring the situation, as we've heard about today, the political and civic space, as well as the human rights situation in the country. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to give the floor to colleagues, to members. Would you please, do you have questions? Would you like to speak out or to intervene? Yes, please. Yes, please, Mr. Ujen.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chair, and thanks for organizing this today's hearing. And I would like first to say on a personal note to Robert, all the best for you and for your family as well. We had the opportunity to discuss with David Lewis a couple of days ago about the situation during the election. And indeed, this looks more like a military operation, as you say, than to a real election. And for me, it's quite obvious that Uganda is can be at the same time this country that is brings stability to the region by engaging with neighbors and by hosting refugees from neighbors. And at the same time being horrible to its own opposition to people that engage in civil society. In a way, this country has kind of a split personality, being good at this on the one hand and mean to the inside, and that this state is a state as a booty for the Museveni family, and the regime can be seen today. Today there was planned to be held a Catholic Mass in the Lubaga Cathedral for political prisoner, Dr. Kizza Besigye, and other political prisoners that has been cancelled on the last minute by the Archbishop, probably because he got a call that it would be wise not to do this. For me, this shows that this is not a free country. I can only say that for me, there's no transparency in those elections, and already acknowledging the results of that such a fraudulent election is taking part in supporting a regime that is, from my point of view, not duly elected. So I think that we are already too positive on that note as a European Union. So it's said several times that the Ugandan constitution is very clear on the provisions, but apparently nobody cares, at least from those who are in the regime. So my question to our friends in Uganda is, what can we do further to support democracy and rule of law and human rights in Uganda, a part of doing what we do today, which is putting light to this situation. You request for targeted sanctions. My question to BAS is, what is hindering us if we know clearly that there are some people personally involved in abducting people, killing people, to put in place targeted sanction? These are my two questions to our esteemed guests. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there other colleagues who want to take the floor? Not otherwise, Bobi Wine. Sorry for your family name is a little bit difficult for me to pronounce.
Yeah.
If we can give the floor first to you and then to Mrs. B. Rita. Yes.
Sure. May I request that you repeat the question again, please?
So, Robert, first I said all the best for you personally and for your family, but I wanted to know a part of putting light on the situation and organizing meetings like this and calling for targeted sanctions. What else can we do in order to support you on the ground that are working for democracy in your country?
Thank you very much. I'll talk about what you can do from your end and what you can do from our end here in Uganda. From your end, of course, you can apply targeted sanctions. And I hear very many times regime apologists claiming that when you put targeted sanctions on individuals, it affects the nation. No, it does not. It saves the nation. You can slap targeted sanctions, travel sanctions, economic and legal, to the individuals, which individuals we have presented internationally, and others have actually come out themselves, like General Muhoozi, Museveni's son. You have laws like the Global Magnitsky, which has been applied to many human rights violators. We request that the same be applied to the regime back in Uganda. But also association. I mean, it slaps those who believes in democracy and human rights in the face when they see ambassadors or diplomats from the world-known democracies standing shoulder to shoulder with gross human rights violations. For example, imagine just a day or hours after General Muhoozi tweets taking pride in murdering people, in attacking people's families and undressing people and tweeting it, taking pride in killing. And then the next minute, you're going to see an official picture of an ambassador from a renowned democracy standing shoulder to shoulder. That is embracing, that is legitimizing impunity. And we call for a distancing on that. I mean, I've not seen an ambassador or an government official from a democracy standing shoulder to shoulder with Lukashenko or these other, renowned dictators. Also, we have requested that for all the aid that is extended to Uganda, let it be conditional. Let it be conditioned to respect to democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. That would be very helpful. If it is not possible to cut out any cooperation, of course, the best thing would be for a democracy to disassociate from anything that contradicts the same. However, if it is not achievable to completely disassociate, then at least let there be a minimum of demanded, reforms that can lead Uganda to a line of democracy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bobi Wine. And now I would like to give the floor to Ms. Sarah Biriti. I don't see her. Are you still there? Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Sarah, can you say something
thank you so much
about what we can do from our side more?
Yes, I associate myself with the submissions of Honorable Chagrani on what you can do. I just want to re-emphasize 3 issues. One is that you should use more of the Global Magnitsky Act on individuals that are engaged in gross violations of human rights in Uganda. 2 is that you should put stringent measures to your funding agreements regarding the protection of human rights, democracy, and the rule of law in Uganda that are at their lowest at this time, and we are worried about the next 5 years as citizens. 3 is that you should support more people as compared to government. Empower the people to fight for and protect their democracy. This is what you can do.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Biriti. And now, last, I would like to give the floor to Ms. Johnson. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit more about the sanctions, but also the conditions for aid.
Thank you very much. Well, it has been many references to the treaties of the European Union, and of course that is what's steering our engagement with all our partners globally. So it also in this case, of course, our development cooperation and our cooperation in general is not unconditional. It is based on our very clear values and expectations. In the case of Uganda, I've already outlined how we, at this stage, we monitor the situation very, very closely. We are engaging in a dialogue with both government, indeed, but also opposition and civil society. All of this, of course, is not happening in the public eye, but there is clearly a very proactive approach that we have, and also, of course, frank discussions. And it's through our development cooperation and the cooperation that we have, of course, we target that very much to governance and support to civil society, as I've outlined. And we have the possibility of focusing additionally on that as we deem necessary, and to accompany a reform process. So the way we today, the approach that we have today is one of engagement, and the proposals of restrictive measures have not been on the table in these discussions and in our and also in our discussions with our member states.
Thank you. And I would like to thank all our speakers, or all our guests for today, for their interventions. And I also would like to emphasize and to stress that we as European Parliament are committed to support a peaceful and prosperous, continue closely monitoring the situation in Uganda. And we do call on the Ugandan authorities to guarantee Lani, Bobi Wine, as well as to ensure due process and an independent investigation into the arbitrary arrest and detention. If there are no more questions for the members, then I would like to close today's meeting. The next date of the next delegation meeting will be good to see you. I'm sorry. So yeah.
Mpulira singa gwe babuuziza ekibuuzo ekyo kiki wali agadde okukola kiki wali agadde gundi abazungu bano bakuyambeko oba parliament ya EU kiki wali agadde ekuyambeko kiki wali agadde kiki wali banga parliament y'abali kiki kyo ngenda kusooka nsobole okusomako ku komenti zammwe entonotono parliament egaddewo n'eki kye wali agadde maapu mbadde egenze sigirabye eraze eruddawa Museveni and his brother Salim Saleh must be arrested by immediately nga Victoria yaffe president tajogeddeeko maapu webale kutubeezaawo thank you oyo ye muwonge bakwate Museveni ne mutabani we period oyo Judith Merasi thanks maapu media and Mami Rebecca Agaba okay the vibes Uganda yagambye let them come and take those 3 people bani those people oyo Nasimu wagala agambye leka bajje batwala abantu abo basatu ani nani they have to stop